Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how I recruited 80 insurance agents in 10 days. Yes, those are real numbers. I'm going to go with the exact process that I did it. Subscribe to my channel, please. Show your boy some love. Subscribe to my channel if you find value in this video. I'm going to go through the whole process, the flow of what I did from start to finish to hire all these people, how I've scaled it out. And then at the end, I'm going to bring you through tutorials of a couple different job boards that I like to use, and I'm going to tell you how you can get a free copy of the exact job description that I use on job boards to get so many people to click and apply. Stay tuned. Okay, so how did I recruit 80 insurance agents in 10 days? 8 per day. That doesn't count on the weekends. We didn't work on the weekends. All right, so this is exactly how I did it. I'm going to bring you through my entire workflow and system that I've developed over the last couple years. I spent a ton of money trying to figure this out, trying to save you guys all the time and money here. So the way it works is I post on job boards. So I posted on a bunch of different job boards. Could be Facebook, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, LinkedIn, a bunch of different places. You have to advertise, okay? At the end of this video, I'm going to have a little bit of a tutorial walkthrough of Indeed and ZipRecruiter. And I have a tutorial on Facebook ads. Find the video in the description. And all you'll have to do for the Facebook ads is just tweak the ad a little bit so that you're advertising for a job instead of for insurance, which is what the video is based on. But number one, I started with job boards. So I posted a bunch of ads on job boards, and I spent a lot of money. I put it on credit cards. Like when I started, I went into debt to start building a team. And if you're scared to go into debt, then you shouldn't build a team, straight honest with you. But if you want to do it fast, you have to spend some money. I put it on a credit card. So you can use Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Facebook. ZipRecruiter, it's a flat fee per month, and you pay for how many cities you want to advertise in. Indeed, you say, hey, this is how much money I want to spend per day. Facebook and LinkedIn, it's like, hey, this is how much money I want to spend per day. And depending on how much you spend, it's how much they'll promote your job. I'll go over some details on Indeed and ZipRecruiter as well at the end of the video, but that's step one. So you'll be able to see it in the chapters of the video. You can just skip ahead to those parts and you'll be able to watch the tutorials that I have and the walkthroughs on how I set that up. And like I said in the introduction, stay tuned to the end and you're going to find out how you can have a copy of the job description that I use, and you can just change some things to make it match your exact position that you're advertising for. So I advertised a bunch of jobs. Okay, because you have to have applicants. Okay, recruiting is like sales. As you're building a team, your production will be a direct reflection of how many people you recruit. I don't care how good your sales training system is, you can't turn a dud into a stud. So you're gonna have to go through a lot of people to find people that are willing to put that work in and put in the time to get good at this business, because it requires a massive amount of action in a short amount of time to get really good at this, all right? So you have to recruit in excess, meaning recruit more people than you think that you should. So I recruited them, and then I have 2 interviews set up, 2 types of interviews. So one of them is a one-on-one interview. I use Calendly. Okay, Calendly is a really, really simple to use program, and you just go to calendly.com, set up an account, and what you do, you can set up a schedule where you send the applicants a link, and you say, hey, you can schedule an interview using this calendar. They go on, they click on the day, it shows them the hours that you have available in that day to run an interview. So through Calendly, I have back-to-back interviews every half hour from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., okay? And then for anybody who can't attend the interview, I have a webinar, and I use a program called Webinar Jam. I'm going to do a little tutorial of that at the end of the video as well. And I'm going to show you how I have pre-recorded group meetings. So for anybody who can't attend the one-on-one interview, it's totally fine. I send them a video where I detail all of the position and what's expected and what it's about to be a life insurance agent, and I get into a lot of detail about it, and then at the end they just reach out to me and tell me that they're interested if they want to move forward with the job. Okay, so they either have a one-on-one meeting with me or they go to a webinar and they watch that, and then they reach out and they say, hey, this sounds pretty cool, I'm interested, I want more information. All right, now I have assistants running these as well. So since I'm trying to recruit in excess and scale, I hired assistants to run the interviews. They're absolutely amazing, and honestly, they're better than me because I want to give everybody a chance. You know, I'm like that. I'm like, hey, try to be like the insurance Jesus, you know, just kind of save everyone, but I can't. And they are a good front line for me because they're like, no, this person definitely wouldn't do well. This person would do well. This is why. So they run the interviews, and then they determine if they're going to onboard someone or not and get them licensed, get them signed up for the licensing course and bring them through that process. So I have them running interviews. I have two working all throughout the day, running interviews for me. And they bring them through a basic interview process. And then at the end of the day, what they do is they check Google Voice. So anybody who attends the webinar, I have them text a Google Voice number saying, hey, I'm interested in the job. And then they'll go through those Google Voice messages at the end of the day, call the people, say, hey, you want to get going? Cool, let's get you signed up right now. Okay? So I have the assistants run that. I use Excel Solutions for an insurance license course. It's xcelsolutions.com. You can call them and they will create a custom discount code for you based on your email so that you can send the instructions on how to sign up for the licensing course to your applicants that are interested in working for you. That way every morning you can get a pre-generated report and it'll show you how far through the course everyone is. It's very, very important. You want to track their progress and encourage them to do well and encourage them to stay studying. So next step comes the interview, right? And I do this in the one-on-one interviews. I've trained my recruiters to do this. And then I talk about it in the webinar. You have to set commitments up front. You have to be like, look, I'm looking for someone full-time. I don't believe in the part-time insurance BS. It doesn't work. So I know people who do well in insurance who did it part-time for the first couple of years, but they didn't really crush it until they went full-time. So I have them be upfront. I just can't afford to bring anybody on who's going to really put a part-time commitment in. Yes, it's 1099, and yes, they can get contracted, but we don't really help them out if they're going part-time because we put all our time and energy into training the full-timers. So I go over what's expected of them. I go over the history of the agency. I go over what the job is about, what we do on a daily basis. Our agency provides all the leads to our agents. So I explain to them, you're provided a CRM, you're provided leads, you're going to go through, this is what your daily schedule should look like if you want to be successful at this, and then this is what we provide to you for training, for materials, for technology. This is what's expected of your managers. So your managers are expected to help you succeed. So this is what they are expected to do throughout your growth and development here. And I say, this is how much money you can make, this is how the commission structure works, this is an example of if you wanted to make $100,000, this is what you'd have to do to get there. And if you want to advance in the company and grow an agency or a division of your own, I will help you do that. And I'm going to show you exactly what I did. I'm showing you guys right now. That's what I go through in the interview. And then at the end, I ask if they have any questions. I like to talk to them too and kind of just be like, hey, nice shirt. Or hey, what are some of your goals? Or what's financial freedom mean to you? Things like that to kind of get them involved. Listen, people click on the ads and they don't know what they're clicking on. People apply to 50 jobs at once. They're just hoping they can get something. And most of them just want something easy. Most people don't want to work. They just want to get paid. So you're going to have to go through a lot of applicants. They're going to hear it's full commission and jump off and whatever. But you have to go through a lot of people in order to hire a lot of people. At the end of the interview, ask them to sign up for the licensing course. Try to get them to do it right there. If they really, really can't do it, send them the information for the course. But Excel Solutions has some serious discounts. It's only $49. There's another company, ExamFX, that's popular. It's the course for ExamFX is like twice as long though. So I don't know. They can have ExamFX for 3 months and Excel for 45 days, but there's a third of the amount of material in Excel Solutions. And I want it done fast. I don't want someone who's going to take 3 months to study a 6-chapter course. That's just me. It took me 7 months, but they can hit me back once they get through it and once they've extended it that many times. Now that I have the applicants and the people who have signed up for the licensing course, I have a virtual assistant go through a few times a week and follow up with them to see where they are in their course progress. Commend them, say, hey, great job getting this far through. Once they get to 50% through, I say, hey, here's the next steps for the exam scheduling. To schedule your final exam, here's how you get your fingerprints done for the background check. Here's how you apply for your license. When do you think you'll be done? Let's get you going. Get them pumped up, get them motivated. The virtual assistant checks in a couple times a day with them. They use a CRM. I upload them into VanillaSoft. It's a really, really good CRM. And then the virtual assistant calls out through there to schedule the interview. Not to schedule the interviews, to talk to their students and see where they are. And if they have any questions, then they reach out to me or the other managers that I'm helping build teams for. So the reason why I'm scaling out like that and I'm recruiting so many is because I'm helping other people build teams. You're going to find when you go to build a team as an agency builder, once you get past like 25, 30 people, it's really, really hard to just keep being, because you can't be a leader to that many people directly at once. Once you get to that many people, you have to learn to start developing leaders who are going to then build out things of their own. So that's really where the scaling comes in. You're going to grow linear like this, at just leading people yourself, and then you're going to kind of hit a ceiling and the progress will slow down, but you're going to grow exponentially if you develop leaders. So that's how I did it. I just went nuts, and I learned all this stuff myself before though. So I've spent a ton of money on job boards. I spent over probably at least $200,000 on job boards and assistants and everything else, and learning how to do all this stuff. I'm giving you guys all this information here. That's exactly how I did it. You can just duplicate the process and apply it, and you will recruit people and you will grow your agency. So that's all you have to do. I laid it out for you right there. Post on job boards, host interviews for people who can't make it, have a webinar, interview as many people as you possibly can. The thing with recruiting, this is how it works. So your production a few months from now as a team will be a direct reflection of how many people you recruited this month, okay? So it takes a few months for the money to come back in a return because someone has to go through the licensing course, and don't worry about the license agents list. It's like, no. Someone has to go through the licensing course, and then they have to get licensed, then they have to get contracted, and then they have to go through training, and then they have to get leads and start making sales. So it's a process. It's not like next week they're going to start. And then once they start selling you, it's going to be a little bit before you really start to turn a profit on that person going in. So recruiting is an investment in the future, but your recruiting right now is going to dictate where you're going to be a few months from now production-wise. So if you're trying to blast through a plateau with your team's production, the only difference between where you're at now and where you're going to be and where you want to be is how many people you're recruiting and how many people you're hiring. Because you're going to go through a lot of people, like I said. You're going to have to go through a lot of people to find the talent and find the attitude that you are looking for. So when I say I have 80 people starting, you know what? Most of them won't be here in a year, and I get it. I'm okay with that. And they're going to be okay with that when they leave. They're going to be like, hey, this wasn't for me, man. I gave it a shot, but I really didn't like it. So that's it. That's how I did it. I hope you guys like this. If you want a copy of my job description, this is how you get it. Subscribe to my channel. Email me at jve@thejve.com, and I will send you a copy of the job description that I use on job boards. I'm giving it all away here, folks. Next, what I'm going to have a short little walkthrough of how to use Indeed, short little walkthrough of how to use ZipRecruiter, and then I'm going to show you a couple things on Facebook Ads Manager of what you have to check just to make sure to tell them that you're advertising for a job, because you have to do a certain way. So I'm going to go through a couple things on that so that you have an idea of how the different job boards works in terms of functionality. Okay, so I know I said I wouldn't do a Calendly walkthrough, but I'm going to do it anyway. So here you guys go. I didn't want this to hold anyone back. I say it's simple because I've done it a ton of times, but I'm going to walk everyone through this. So you're going to want to set up an account on Calendly.com. So you just go to Calendly.com, log in with Google, and then this is the home page for Calendly once you are logged in and you have an account, okay? So this is what it looks like here. And I have it hooked up to my Gmail account. I have to get I have a subscription to it. So I'm going to see what the subscription is. It's okay, $30, 2 seats. I can probably remove a seat and only pay 15. But whatever, $30 a month for you to be able to do all this scheduling. There may be some that are free, but pay the $30 a month and just do the one that works well. Use the one that works well, okay? So how you create a new event for your interviews. So you want to have a calendar that displays all your internet times, or your interview times. So for instance, for me, I have, well, there's no times in February right now because I have to adjust it. But anyways, new event type. That's what you want to click on. So you click on new event type, one-on-one meeting, and you hit create. So this is going to help you create a one-on-one event. Now I'm just going to do interview example for YT, for YouTube, for you guys, okay? Location. So there's different locations. You can, if you're having an in-person meeting, you can set it to be in person. You put an address. If it's a phone call, then it'll give you steps to set up a conference call, Google Meet or Zoom call, Microsoft Teams, whatever. I use Zoom. I use the same Zoom meeting every time. So on mine, I have a paid Zoom account as well. It's like $15 a month, and it costs me the same amount of money. I mean, I have the same meeting, so it's the same meeting ID for every Zoom interview. That way I can just be in one Zoom, or my assistants can be in one Zoom, and people are coming in and out of the same Zoom meeting.
Now, if you select this as the option right here, if you select Zoom right here, it's going to create a new Zoom meeting for every interview. So you'll have to keep clicking out and going into new ones. So you can do that. That's fine. You probably won't be starting at the same scale I am, so that will work out totally fine for you. As you start to scale up and you have a ton of interviews, you're going to want to use have your own custom Zoom meeting ID. You want to tell them what the meeting ID is right here. So the link for the meeting is, and then you'll be pasting it. This is my co-pilot, Amelie. Say hi, Amelie. Cool. And the meeting for the Zoom link is whatever, and then you'd say like, the meeting ID is this, and then in the description, I'd say like, thank you for your interest in the interview or in the position. And then you put whatever else you want in there, like click the link or find a day that works best for you. I'll show you exactly what I say at the end of all this. Okay. So J. Von Magen interview SLS, whatever. You can create the link so that the link will be calendly.com / whatever your username is / interview SLS or interview, whatever you want to make it. So this is the basic event, okay? And then you hit next and it's going to let you set up some details for the event. So I do the date range. I do 2 business days, 2 business days. So the reason why I do that is because I found that if someone books an interview more than 2 days out, the chances of them not showing up are a lot higher. People are in the job market right now and they want an offer right now. So I have them book max 2 days in advance. And if there's no availability on the calendar for them, then I have them send me a text or an email, okay? And I put that in here. So you'll see when I go and review mine, but you can put that in the event description. You can say, if there's no availability, please send me a text message or shoot me an email. At 30 minutes long, you can set your own, you can use an existing schedule 9 to 5, so they can book any half-hour slot from 9 to 5, or you can set custom hours. So if you wanted to do like 9 to 4, you can do that. And if you wanted it 9 to 4 Monday through Friday, you just copy the times and then you select the other days of the week that you want it to apply to, and you hit apply. I don't want Saturday, so I'm going to have that off. And then say you wanted to take a break at 12 for lunch. So you go 9 to 12, and then you put another block here by hitting this plus sign, new interval, and then we'll go from 12:30 if you take more than a half-hour lunch. I think if you take a lunch at all, you're wasting time. But 12, more than half hour, you're good. 12:30 to 4, and then we're going to copy this through those same days. Hit apply, and then it'll apply that to every day. So now we have the half-hour interviews scheduled every 2 business days in advance in these times, and cool. And this is a buffer when you can add time before and after. I don't have that. Half-hour max is what I do. If it takes longer than that, the person's asking too many questions. You can put, they can't schedule within a certain amount of time of the event. I do like 1 hour. And then don't worry about that. So hit next. You're going to have a lot of people not show up too. You can always have people double book appointments if you want as well. So now the event type's on. So when you hit the live page, what's going to show you here is Monday, you have all these availabilities. So if someone wants to book an interview, they click that, they click confirm, they put their information. There should be information for the Zoom meeting here. And then there will be notifications as well, which I'm going to show you in a second. So if you want to set up notifications, there's some other additional options here. So you can have them put name, email, and then please share anything you'd like to help. I like to have them put in a phone number. So I'll put, phone number, edit this, name, first, last name. Okay. You can put a new question in as well for their phone number. And then I don't do workflows or automations because it's like you want to send them a text and an email. You can do that and you can add a workflow, but what I would do is just do a notifications here. So you can have an email reminder. So you can set a reminder saying, it just says, hey, remember this is the time and date, and this is where it is on Zoom, and these are the questions and answers. You can put 3 reminders of the email. So I have it due, I think 24 hours before, 12 hours before, and then 1 hour before. So they'll get 3 emails before the meeting actually happens, and an email follow-up after the meeting saying, hey, thank you so much for attending. Looking forward to working with you, or if you have any further questions, let me know. Make sure you get they get your contact information in case they lose it after the meeting. Then you can have them send 1 text reminder that will remind them of the meeting. And you can have it send a certain amount of time before. I usually do this one 30 minutes before. 30 minutes before, okay? And then there is the confirmation page as well, where it will just be a standard Calendly confirmation page that they booked their meeting. So when you have all that stuff saved here, you're going to have your meeting. And then once people book interviews, it is going to show up on your calendar. So this is my Google Calendar. Calendly automatically threw them all in. That was for last week, so I have my interviews booked up. Now I'm going to show you real quick what I have for my personal one. I have just in the description kind of how example. Remember, I talked about Webinar Jam. Okay, so I have this meeting will be held over Zoom. Here is the meeting ID and the link. So I just tell them right there. And then if you need a scheduling exception in the description, so when they log in, it's going to be on the left. Please text this. The interview is for the work from home life insurance sales position with Senior Life Service Just Insurance. And then I have the whole description here of everything they'll need. Have your camera on during the interview, all that stuff. When I click view live page, it doesn't have any times in February, but you see all those, this description ends up being here. Say, have your camera on, show up 5 minutes early, you're gonna get reminder emails, stuff like that. So once you have your Calendly link, okay, we're gonna go back to calendly.com and you're gonna have the main link here. This is the example we made. So copy the link, and what you're gonna wanna do is send this to your people when they apply for a job. So when someone goes to a job board, you just send them the mass message that you can use through the job board, send them a text message, give them a call, and let them know, hey, like you can use this to schedule an interview, and then they can use that, and that's totally fine to use to schedule an interview. So I say, thank you for applying. Please use this link to schedule an interview with us. Looking forward to working with you. If there's no availability on this meeting, reach out or follow the directions in the message. You can tell them what to do as well. So that's basics how you use Calendly. So I get the people in the job board, and then they apply, and then I send them a message with this link for Calendly so that they can book their interviews. Okay, don't mind the background and the attire. I am in Breckenridge, Colorado right now, skiing with some family. But I wanted to bring you guys this video because this is some heat right here. And this is how I was able to recruit, part of how I was able to recruit 90 insurance agents in 10 days. So I'm going to show you guys right here. So we have, this is Indeed. This is the Indeed walkthrough. And I'm going to break down a little bit of how Indeed works, and then I'm going to show you how I post a job. So you want to create an Indeed account. Okay, you have to create an Indeed account. And once you have it set up, you go to Post Job. So you click Post a Job, and it's going to say, would you like to start with a new post? I have my previous template saved in here, but I'm not going to give away all my secrets to you guys yet. Remember, at the end of the video, there's a special thing you got to do to get my job description. Just send me an email. Show me you subscribe to my channel. That's all it is. So once you go post, and I'll send you the job description. So once you start the job post, you make sure everything lines up here. You put your role in the hiring process. I just put hiring manager, job title, insurance agent, life insurance agent, however you want to structure it, but you want to have it pretty straightforward, like life insurance agent or life insurance sales agent, life insurance sales representative, something like that. Okay, I just put life insurance agent for the example here. Then there's a category it's going to fall under. Then you want to pick the description for your job. So you want to pick one location, so you put an address. You can pick multiple locations if you want it statewide, so all across your state. If you want it nationwide, so all across the entire country, or multiple locations, you can put a bunch of different cities or states at a time. Okay. So whichever one of those you want. And then remote is just going to send to everyone all over the whole country if it's remote, like work from home stuff. But for this point, we're just going to do statewide in Florida, just for the heck of it here. Now continue. You pick whether it's full-time, part-time. I put full-time because I'm really only looking for full-time people. Granted, it's 1099, so I can't tell someone when to work, but yeah. And then you can select contract if you'd like. And what's the schedule for the job? I just put Monday through Friday and weekend availability. How many people? I put ongoing need to fill this role. So this is how many people do you want to hire for the job? The more openings you have, the more applications you'll need. So you don't want it to be like, I'm going to hire 1 million people, but you know you're going to have to go through a good amount of applicants, and you have to say, like, how many agents do you want to hire? So if you want to hire like 3 agents, And this is how quickly do you need to hire. So if you need someone fast, you may need higher visibility. How quickly do you need to hire? I'm going to give myself 1 to 2 weeks to hire 3 people. So I hit save and continue. So range, I know the range for a life insurance agent is high, but what I like to really do is I like to put starting amount at like 50,000 annual. And then in the description, I do mention that it's full commission, but I start at 50,000, and in the job description, you can say, average first year is 50,000, but you can make up to 100,000. Okay. Do you offer any of the following supplemental pay? So you can put, we have bonuses here. So I put that, and then other renewals, right? So I have that under other. So this is additional compensation section. Sorry, I'm kind of going back through this stuff. I do this all the time. So and this says how people get paid. What is the pay? Okay. And any of the following benefits required. So I know as 1099, we don't get a ton of benefits. What I really put is flexible schedule for mine, work from home, and parental leave. They can leave if they want, and then other, because there's some other stuff that come with the job too. So save and continue. And now this is where you do the job description. So I am just going to apply Indeed's template. So Indeed will have a template of a job description. We're looking for competitive insurance agent to generate new business. So you can, I'm just going to use this as an example, but you want to go through this and you want to structure it, copy their structure, but put your own 2 cents into it, right? So you want to put your own 2 cents into, hey, what are the responsibilities for the job? What are the skills that you'll need? You want to mention if they need an insurance license. How's the pay structure, right? You start at this much money and you make up to this much money. What can you expect from your team and your managers? What makes this a good opportunity, essentially? And then I put all that stuff in the job description. And this is important too. Are you taking any additional COVID-19 precautions? I just put we're working at home to protect against COVID. Or if you sell face to face, you can be like, hey, we wear masks and gloves in our clients' houses or whatever it may be. You can add company videos and photos here too, and then you continue to the next page. So what we're going to do, this will post a job on Indeed's website. And would you like people to submit a resume? So these are application preferences. Would you like them to submit a resume? I put it's optional. I don't really look at resumes too much. I probably should, but I don't. Some of my best agents would have had a resume that I would have turned down. I, I don't have a great resume, and I do okay, right? So send daily updates about this job and applicants to this email. The guy that works with me, one of my team builders, and then I used to have this where I get an email every time someone applies. You can have that. It got really annoying because I have so many applicants, but you can uncheck it or check it if you want. If it's checked, you'll get an email right when someone applies. So if you're just starting out, it may be good to just get in touch with someone right away. And you want to let people who apply start the conversation, meaning there Indeed has its own built-in messenger. I'll show you in a second, but yeah. And employer assist. I just turned this off. I don't mess with any of that stuff that Indeed has. And I hit save and continue. And then there's just some qualification questions. So they have customized pre-screening. So what qualifications top your list? Add 3 to 5 qualifications to build a strong candidate pool. So this is like 2 or 3 dates and times that you could do an interview. I don't use that one because I have the Calendly link, which lets them schedule their own interview. But you can ask here, do you have a valid insurance producer license or life insurance producer license, right? Because it's the second one. Are you authorized to work in the US? And then you can give them a sales skills test. So there's a bunch of different things that you can use here. I mix them up frequently. I don't really stick to any specific ones in particular, but you can use these. You can have none. You can put some questions in here. Are you willing to work full time? Things like that, like just screening questions for candidates. Like if someone's driving face to face, do you have a driver's license? That's usually a pretty important one, right? Do you have a vehicle? Do you have transportation? And this box checked here will request the assessment results for the sales skill test get sent to you. Here's straight from your applicants. I don't do this. I don't do a pre-recorded phone screen. I just have them apply and then I like to talk to them. Indeed, sometimes feels like they know more about hiring insurance agents than me, but they don't. They probably, most of the people out there, nice people, great staff. I don't know how much experience they have actually hiring people, aside from learning how to hire people. Right? Insurance is a totally different ballgame, though. Like it's a totally different thing. And I understand from their standpoint of like hiring for the corporate world and that type of position, but insurance agent is way different. So they've provided a lot of good insight to me that's helped me. And then there's some stuff I've kind of figured out on my own that maybe they didn't really have the best answer to. So that's that. And then you hit confirm, and it's going to put a job budget, and then you're going to have to set a job budget to post it. You're going to have to link up a credit card. I'm not going to post this right here, but what you can do to sponsor the job. So this job must be sponsored to be shown on Indeed. You have to, if it's a full commission position, it's a sales position, the job has to be sponsored. So sponsorship just means I'm paying for it. Okay. And add duration, run it continuously, 14 days, 30 days, custom end dates. This is how long you want your post to be visible on Indeed. And then you can do your budget. So you can do it like a daily average. How much do you want to spend a day? Okay. And then if you want to hire fast, you just check this box, add label urgently hiring. That'll show the urgently hiring tag on your job post at the bottom of the job. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to actually post that job. So your job is currently live on Indeed. I'm actually going to shut this down right here. Hold on, jobs. No, continue. I don't want that. Jobs. I'm going to close this immediately. I don't want this here. Closed. Okay, close that job. Sweet. But what I'm going to show you is so Indeed will have your candidates list. Okay, so here I have a list of candidates. And not for this job. There are closed jobs that I have candidates for, but it'll show a list of your candidates, ones that you haven't contacted yet. Once you contact them, or once you look at them, you can review them. Once you've reviewed them, you can mark that they're contacted, and then you can organize between whether they've been hired or rejected. When you have an applicant here, I'm not going to go into them because I don't want to give anybody's personal information away who has applied through Indeed, but their names will come up here, and the job they applied for comes up in a list. You can check a box next to them and you can send them a message. Okay, so when I send them a message through here at the beginning, when I send them all a message at the same, every morning I send all the applicants a message. I say, thank you so much for applying for this job. Please use this link to schedule an interview. If you have any questions or there's any issues, please just reply to this message and let me know. I'd be more than happy to help you figure out a time when we can talk. And then I put the link for Calendly in here. Now you have to let them know if you can't click on the link, copy and paste it, because if you send a link through Indeed's messaging service, then it doesn't create a hyperlink. They have to actually copy and paste it. So, but that should be straightforward. Unfortunately, you actually do have to explain that to some people. So yeah, that's Indeed. Now you're going to get a bunch of applicants come up here and you can communicate with them in messages here too. There's an app that I like to use. It's called ClickSend to send the messages out. So ClickSend here. I like to use this app ClickSend to send out the messages. And I can send out text messages to people who apply. Okay. So once I have all the applicants, right, I have them apply in Indeed. So they apply in Indeed here. And then I download their information, their names and numbers. You can download it in like an Excel spreadsheet, or you can just take them and cut and get the name and then write the number in a spreadsheet, and then you can upload them into this app called ClickSend, and it sends out a bunch of mass messages. But when you start, you're probably not really going to have to do that because you're not going to have the same volume as me. I imagine most people starting this won't be spending as much money as I am. You're not going to have the same applicant volume, so you really want to handle it one at a time. I would send everyone a message in Indeed through their messaging service and then send them a text message as well from your cell phone or like a Google Voice text messaging account. If you don't know what that is, then don't worry about it. Just send them a text from your cell phone with the information to sign up for the interview. Give them a call too. Call them, say, hey, you applied for the work from home life insurance agent position. Cool, I'd love to meet with you. I'm going to send you a link. Please schedule an interview using that link, okay? Yeah, thank you. However you want to organize your applicants, you can, but you want to make sure you send them a message that has the link to schedule an interview, and you want to also make sure that you're calling them to try to give them the link. If they don't answer, then you send them a text message as well, so that because they may not answer a random number, but you want to make sure that they can get scheduled on your calendar. Okay, and then Calendly is going to do the back end work. In the beginning, I showed you my Calendly walkthrough. Calendly is going to do the back end work there and follow up with people saying, hey, reminder, you have your interview coming up. It's going to send them emails, text messages, and then a final, it's going to send them a final email after the meeting. So that is how Indeed works. So that's Indeed, a little bit walkthrough of Indeed there. So people apply on Indeed. I send them a message to book the interview, and then we have our interviews scheduled after that.
Okay, so the next thing I'm going to go over here is ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is a job board, and it works a little bit differently than Indeed. They're both really good. ZipRecruiter is a little more lenient on what you can say for commission-based positions, like life insurance sales, and you can post anything you want, really. Well, I mean, to a degree, but they don't care about commission-based. They don't care about people having to pay for a license, stuff like that. Indeed can get kind of sensitive about it sometimes. So ZipRecruiter is a really good job board anyway. So I'm going to get into it here. The main difference is one, ZipRecruiter, you can only post in cities, and also there's a fixed budget, so you have to pay a monthly subscription. Whereas Indeed, you can set a daily, monthly, weekly budget, advertise different locations. But ZipRecruiter is great. It shows up in the top search results in Google, which is really good. Someone Googles life insurance agent position in whatever city, ZipRecruiter should come up with some results. So I'll just give you an example right here. So life insurance agent Denver. So I'll just look Denver, Colorado. That's where I am now. And I don't live there. I live in Florida. But Yelp, I mean, I don't know. Well, at least where I am in Florida, it comes up. Life insurance agent job. Let's see. Okay. So, see, ZipRecruiter comes up right here. And Indeed, LinkedIn, Simply Hired, which is ZipRecruiter. Okay. So ZipRecruiter is another one. There are so many job boards. There's Simply Hired as well. I don't like Simply Hired. I think it's too expensive. But so the way it works is when you log into ZipRecruiter, you have to create an account. There's a dashboard, and you can post a job from here, view your candidates, view the different jobs you have, search a resume database, look at your messages, and I don't even know what that is. I've never been in there. I think that just shows the company. So I'm going to show you the different plans that ZipRecruiter has. My account is being deactivated for like a week. I have to get it going again. I'm just sorting through so many applicants that I had. So I had a 20 job. So a 20 location post, essentially. I can post 20 different jobs. It's $1,800 a month. $1,840. There are more plans than that. So if I look at the plans, it used to be cheaper. They went up in price recently, like everything else. One city is $300, 3 cities is $450, 10 cities is $1,215, 20 is $1,840, and then 50 is $4,595. And then I'm sure that there are bigger options after that. I don't know what your budget is. I'd imagine if you're just starting growing a team, you'd probably be looking at like the 3 to 10 job slot. Keep in mind that's monthly. And anything you invest in your team growth, you're not going to see for 2 or 3 months down the road because people are going to get licensed. They got to be trained up, start selling. Most people aren't going to make it the first few months anyway. So, but that's how ZipRecruiter works. So if you want to post a job, you just click post a job. It's probably going to make me, So all you do in this is you enter a job title, and you can do some like boosts, which I don't do. Put a job title, the location, the address of the job. I never put an address because I'm hiring remote. But if you're hiring local, then I would can be performed as remote work from home. There's an option there. Employment type, so like full-time, contractor, stuff like that. Then you put a job description in here. Put the compensation range, any benefits, skills that you're looking for, why work at the company, and then so. That's how ZipRecruiter works. So at this point, we've looked at Indeed, ZipRecruiter, and then if you're building Facebook ads, once you get the job description from me, all you have to do to get the job description from me is show me that you're subscribed to my channel with a screenshot. Email that screenshot to jve@thejve.com and ask me for the job description, and I'll send it over to you. For the Facebook post, you want to check out my video, how to make final expense Facebook ads, because instead of making the ad towards final expense clients, you would just structure it so that it's for someone to work with you. Facebook has like a whole template for jobs that you can post with. So you'd want to check that out and have them walk you through it. If you need help with it, just let me know. But the basic ones are ZipRecruiter, Indeed, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads. I'm not going to do a tutorial on everything at this point. I just wanted to kind of show you the couple options out there. So the easiest ones for you would probably be ZipRecruiter, Facebook, and Indeed. That's why I opened this up to show you those basic ones, and then the Calendly webinar, the Calendly interview scheduling link that I showed you the tutorial for a little earlier on. So I'm going to show you Webinar Jam. So Webinar Jam is a really cool program. This is when I send to people that don't have a availability to schedule in that time that I told you about. So what I was saying is, remember on my Calendly calendar, there is it says if you need an exception, then you can please, if you need an exception, then let us know, and yeah, please text here. So if they do need an exception, then what I do is I send them the link to my webinar. Okay. The link to the webinar is actually in EverWebinar, and when they get the link, I'm just running through this quick. I'm going to show you guys how to set this up in a second here, but I'm just going to show you what it looks like. That way, if they're like, I need a scheduling exception, I send them this. It's a pre-recorded group interview where they can just go watch it, and I detail all the positions. If you sell insurance, you know the deal. It's like, how much can you really go over, and this covers most of it. And then afterwards, they reach out to you and they set up a one-to-one interview from there. But it's a lot shorter because they already know the deal. You don't have to explain everything to them again. So they'd go here and click register, and I have a meeting every 15 minutes that replays, and then there's 2 a day after that. So they put their name, number, email, and they'll get reminders. And when they log into the webinar, it's just me sitting there talking about the position. I'll go over that with you guys in a minute, but I'm going to show you how to set up Webinar Jam. So you have Webinar Jam right here. That's the initial one you have to do. So example for YouTube. So what I'm going to show you, I clicked Add Webinar right here, and then I did Edit, or I did Express Configuration. You can do full configuration. I just do Express for now. It's a little bit more detail on your own time. If you get Webinar Jam, you can look through it. Webinar Jam is about $700 a year. It's definitely worth it because it frees you so much time, right? Instead of having to do an interview at 7:30 at night with someone who could be a rock star, they watch the webinar and then you talk to them for 5 minutes and get them signed up instead of, having to talk to them for an hour and doing that with everybody. It just takes up too much time. So essentially, we go through here, Express configuration, and I have it set for right now. So you'd be all dressed up in your polo shirt, ready to go, or however you want to be dressed. You go to dashboard, and then what you do is you go to your links, and you would hit live room. Go to live room, and it may work. Sometimes it takes a minute to set up. Let's see. Free up resources and start the test. Let's see. And I'll try again. Whatever. It doesn't work because I'm using my camera and my audio to record this. But essentially, what happens is just like on Zoom, and you're filming yourself, and Webinar Jam records it, and you just talk about the position. You're like, hey, what I do, I pretend that it's a group. There's a group meeting, and there's a ton of people there. I'm like, hey, what's up? Thank you, everybody, for coming in. Glad you could be here today. I'm looking forward to telling you about the position. I go through the details of the job, same way I would in an interview, but I just make it geared towards like a general audience. So I say, this is what we do. This is what the company provides. This is what's expected of you. This is how much money you can make. I sell the opportunity, right? Everyone here wants financial freedom, and I say, hey, this is how you can achieve it in insurance, and kind of go from there. And then at the end, I ask them to text me on my cell phone to let me know if they're still interested in doing it after that. If they text me, if I get the message saying, hey, I'm interested, I have them send their name, and then I call them, and we set up an interview from there. Or then I get them to try to buy the course at that time, the pre-licensing course. So once this webinar, though, is made, you can go to EverWebinar. So EverWebinar is a part of Webinar Jam that allows you to set a schedule for the webinars to play. So essentially, you record it once in Webinar Jam, and then in EverWebinar, you can have a schedule that it plays. Okay, and then people, like I showed you before, where they can go in and schedule that time, people can go into Webinar Jam, EverWebinar, and you can go into EverWebinar, and you can set the schedule for people to watch your webinar. And I don't tell them it's a webinar. I just say, hey, it's an online meeting. Some people know it's a recording. Some people don't. Whatever. I don't really care. And then they have the schedule set up. So the way I did it, I clicked Add Webinar, but I'm going to go through the editing now because it's the same template. It just runs you through setting it up again. So you'll see source video. So you can either have an external video file or a Webinar Jam live session. The reason why I always recommend to have a Webinar Jam live session is because it optimizes the video quality to make sure that it's not too high quality of a video to be able to stream on someone's phone. Because if you got a video that you upload that's like 1080p and like sick video, well, hey, look, that's cool. But if someone's running on 2 bars in the middle of nowhere, then they may not get everything out of your video that they should. Right? I mean, it may be choppy because their phone just can't handle it. So Webinar Jam, it's kind of a lower quality video, but whatever, everybody's going to get to see it. And then there's some other settings there, don't worry about. Next we go to schedules. So this gives you the webinar schedule. So you can set it on every certain day of the week at a certain time. So I have like 2 on Monday, 9:30 and 3, 2 on Tuesday, 10 and 6. And then I have it all the way through Sunday. And then this is a really good option too. I have the just-in-time option. Okay, now what this does, it has a just-in-time meeting. So like right now it's 4:15. There's going to be one playing at 4:30 and then 4:45 and then 5. But they're only going to see one option when they go to sign in. I'll show you that in a second. But what it does, it gives the opportunity for someone to watch it right there, like pretty much at that time, without having to wait and potentially miss it. Okay. So confirm, then we have registration. This is just things like what your registration page wants to look like, and I have mine set up, and you can design yours how you want. And then it has registration form fields, so like I just need their name, their email, and their phone number. And then it's always a free registration with no password for me. And then you can set up notifications. So you can set up if you want them to get like email notifications and reminders, and then last minute notifications, and then an email after the webinar to let them know to do something or take certain steps. Don't worry about integrations. Thank you. This is a thank you page. Live. There's some cool options here, like you can have a live chat come through, or it'll show a certain amount of attendees in the meeting. Even if there's only one person there, it'll say like, oh, there's 30 people here or whatever. And then you can have people send a replay of the webinar as well. Then you finish, you go to the dashboard. And then what you do is the link that you send someone to register for the webinar, you go into your links. You go to attendees and you just copy and paste this link, but I'm going to show you what it looks like. And boom, here we are again. SLS opportunity meeting, please click register below to select a date and time that works best for your schedule. If there's no time available, text 774-606-6847 and let me know that you need a scheduling exception. Thank you. It has me, my pretty face, and you see right now it displays the just-in-time option. So a few minutes ago it was 4:15, now it's 4:17 and 30 seconds. So it says in 12 minutes, 28 seconds, there's a meeting coming up. So I'll show you, it shows only one option of the just-in-time. You'll see Sunday at 4:30, right? It starts in 12 minutes, but then the other ones are, the normal schedule. So they sign up, they put their name and their email, and then they get rolling with the meeting. And then, they can set their schedule there. So that is the basics of it. So what I'm going to do is really, go over the outline really of what I did here. So I had a bunch of people apply on job boards, a bunch of different ways. I have them schedule an interview. If they can't make the interview, I have them watch a webinar. I have assistants run the interviews and then follow up with the people who watch the webinar. And I have them try to get signed up for the licensing course on the spot. Okay, I'm not going to run through the report the licensing course sends me because there's a lot of people's names, numbers, and emails on there. I don't feel comfortable with that. But that's what it is. And you want to do it in high volume. The more money you put into this, the more people you're going to hire. Bottom line, that's just how it works. If you have any questions about it, please reach out to me. I'd love to help anybody here any way I can for you to have the same results that I've had using the same exact system. Thank you.